Coming up, how I created figurines of the Spice Girls characters from their PlayStation game Spice World. But first, some background. In the late 1990s, the world was in the grip of full-blown Spice mania. The Spice Girls weren't just a band, they were a global brand, dominating music, film, fashion, and eventually, video games. So in 1998, Sony released Spice World for the PlayStation, a game that promised to let you become part of the Spice Girls world. But what we actually got was something very different.
Who do you think you are? A superstar? Wanna be a Spice Girl? Now you can get into your own Spice World with the PlayStation game console. You've got the power to mix it, fix it, choose who you are. It's called Girl Power. Gaming system sold separately.
Spice World was developed by Sony Computer Entertainment Europe at the height of the group's popularity. The idea was inspired by the success of rhythm games like Parappa the Rapper, which had attracted new audiences to gaming. Sony saw an opportunity. What if they could bring in non-gamers, especially young Spice Girls fans, into the PlayStation ecosystem? Instead of a traditional game, the developers aimed to create something closer to an interactive magazine, a mix of music, video, and light gameplay that let fans engage with the band's lifestyle. Interestingly, the project wasn't taken entirely seriously internally. Some developers even described it as a ludicrous prospect, and just before release, things got even messier. Jerry Halliwell left the group, nearly derailing the game entirely. So what do you actually do in Spice World? The game is structured around preparing the Spice Girls for a live TV performance. First, you choose a song and rearrange its structure, essentially creating your own remix using snippets from tracks like Wannabe, Spice Up Your Life, and Say You'll Be There. But the system is pretty limited. Samples are short, and the results can sound a bit awkward. Next comes choreography. You input combinations of buttons to assign dance moves to each Spice Girl. There are 6 basic moves, 5 special moves, and unique animations like backflips. You're essentially programming a performance step by step. Finally, the big show. Here, you become the camera operator, switching between angles while the Spice Girls perform your custom routine. It's less about skill and more about watching your creation play out. And then, unexpectedly, the game ends with around 20 minutes of real interview footage of the Spice Girls in the south of France. This really reinforces the idea that Spice World isn't just a game, it's more like a multimedia fan experience. The game has a very surreal tone. You're guided by a flamboyant Disco King instructor, while the animated Spice Girls deliver quirky voice lines and interact in bizarre scenarios, like chaotic talk shows or random comedic moments. The characters themselves were intentionally designed in a caricatured style rather than realistic models, to exaggerate their personalities. Despite everything, Spice World actually sold quite well, especially in the UK. It sold around 75,000 copies, made the top 10 chart, and interestingly, it attracted a very different audience, mostly mothers and daughters rather than the typical male-dominated PlayStation market. In that sense, Sony achieved exactly what they set out to do. Critics, however, were not impressed. The game was widely criticized for lack of depth, limited gameplay, and repetitive mechanics. Many reviewers felt it wasn't really a game at all, just a series of simple button presses with little substance. Others pointed out the music mixing felt shallow, the animations were awkward, and the video footage quality was poor. Some even argued it failed to capture the charm of the Spice Girls themselves. In short, it was seen as a missed opportunity and a bit of a cash-in. Today, Spice World is remembered less as a great game, and more as a fascinating time capsule. It represents the peak of 90s pop culture, the early experimentation with music-based games, and a moment when gaming tried to reach completely new audiences. Was it a good game? Not really. But is it interesting? Absolutely. Because Spice World isn't just about gameplay, it's about a moment in time when the Spice Girls ruled the world, and even video games couldn't resist. Okay, it's almost time to take a close look at those Spice Girls PlayStation dolls and how I made them. But first, I want to know your thoughts on the Spice World game itself. Drop your comments below this video and let's reminisce about this gaming experience that spiced up 1998. If you're new to my channel, why not hit the subscribe button to get more Spice Girls memorabilia and historical content into your feed. I have tons of videos for you to enjoy and release new ones regularly, so you really can keep it spicy. If you're enjoying this video, please give it a like and help my channel. Right, let's get to those dolls. And stick around to the end for a surprise from the game. These paper dolls were created by printing off the PDF file, which was cleverly created by the Spice Girls fan Bruno Vilardi. Someone sent me the PDF, and I wanted to make them for so long, and this year, I thought it's time. They're super cute, and super faithful to the original PlayStation characters. So, how did I make them? First, I printed all 5. Now, if you're going to make these, I would recommend increasing the size for ease of making. At this small size, they're quite fiddly and delicate. Some of the flaps you have to glue and stick are so tiny, and if you have large man hands like me, you may struggle. Cutting them out takes longer than you expect, but the folding and gluing process is quite enjoyable, really, despite the difficulties. I struggled the most with Mel C's ponytail. It was so hard to get it folded right and stuck together correctly. Again, probably because of its small size, but also because it was one of the first dolls I made and I needed more experience with the glue. I used a standard Pritt stick, but kept forgetting to put the lid back on, so the glue dried on the stick and didn't really work on the doll's glue flaps. I also ripped one of Victoria's legs off during the gluing process, which demonstrated how fragile they are when made out of paper. Another problem is getting them to stand up. I had to restick many of their feet and do a few tricks to get them to stand up on their own. Mel B is the most stable because of her stance. Also, I'm not gonna lie, each one took me about 90 minutes to cut out, fold, glue, and stick. I may have been a bit slow, but this is not a quick task, so set aside some decent time to get these made. With all this in mind, here are my top tips for making these dolls. 1. Print larger and on card if you can. 2. Make sure you fold the creases in the correct direction before you attempt to glue them in place. 3. Make sure your glue is not dried before applying. 4. Be generous with the glue if using Pritt stick. It will stick together well, but you need a decent amount on there. 5. Glue the shoes to the legs and body before gluing the other parts. This will establish how stable your doll will be when standing up, and lets you know if you need to adjust them so the doll doesn't lean too much or even fall over. 6. Hold pieces in place when first sticking them to the doll. Be patient. Holding them in place for a few seconds or even a minute will allow the glue to take hold and keep your pieces in the right place. And finally, 7. Use a small stick or even your scissors in the closed position to poke and push flaps down when your fingers are too big to get into small spaces. This probably applies more if you're printing them at the A4 paper size like I did. These are super cute, free to download or get another Spice fan to send you the PDF. Big thanks to Bruno Vilardi for making these and sharing them with fans. They look amazing alone or when surrounded by Spice Girls memorabilia, and the fact we have made them ourselves makes them extra special. So, I promised you a surprise and here it is. This is the Spice Girls PlayStation game showing those characters naked, and yes, it was actually in the game. There is a cheat code out there on the internet that you can use to unlock this hidden content. Spicy, eh? Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed it. Here are some more videos for you to spice up your day, and I have lots of new videos coming soon. Stay spicy, folks.